Today we are going to be drawing Kakyoin. Yeah, it's probably going to get like 20 views, but I got a request to do this drawing and that means it's getting drawn. So our materials that we're using won't be too different from the last couple of drawings that we've done so far. We've got our paper, our pencil, several erasers, and of course our pencil sharpener, which we're going to be using quite a bit. So the first thing we need to do is create a set of 3x3 inch grid lines on our drawing paper, and we're actually going to start in this cube right over here. The next step is going to be to create an outline, a basic rough sketch for our drawing. And after we're done with that, we're going to erase the whole thing and lay down a fresh set of new lines that are going to be clearly defined with no rough edges. And after we have the outline for the entire character, we're going to go ahead and put in the rest of the details. All right, that's it. So let's go ahead and get started with the drawing process. The first thing we're going to do is draw a straight line right down the middle of his face. Next, we'll draw his chin before moving on to draw his jawline and the side of his face. Now we're going to draw a few guidelines. The first one is going to help us place his nose. And the second one, which is going to be placed higher, will tell us where to place his eyes. For his facial features, we'll go in the order of his nose, his eyes, and then finally his mouth. Notice everything about his features are very straight, not a lot of curves, and that's just kind of the edgy look that they gave this character. A little bit too edgy, if you ask me, for a 15-year-old. Kind of looks like a 40-year-old man, but I'm not going to judge the animation style. For now, we're just sticking to drawing the larger features of his face. We're not drawing any details yet, we're going to save that for later. It's very important that we get these large objects down now because it's going to save us a lot of erasing later on down the road. If you draw the details first and then you erase everything, it's going to leave you with a huge mess. At first glance, it looks like the side of his face is just a straight line, but there are a lot of subtleties there that we need to include in order to really help this character come to life. Drawing his mouth is actually super easy. It's probably the easiest part of the character. We just need to kind of start with a straight line and then curve out towards the end to give him that little smirk. Now I kind of screwed up here because his mouth I drew a little bit too high. So I lowered it, but it still kind of left that line because I pressed down too hard. Not a big deal, but just be careful how high you place his mouth. It's not going to be too close to his nose. So before moving on to sketch his hair and his neck and his shoulders, we're going to go ahead and erase everything for his face and draw the details here first. It doesn't have to be done that way, that's just typically the order I prefer to do things in. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my time drawing these details so that those who want to follow along can do so. But if you want to skip to the next step, go ahead and fast forward to 8 minutes into the video and I'm going to go ahead and continue the narration there. Okay, now we can finally go ahead and continue with the rest of the sketch. It's time for us to draw his hairline, which is going to appear right above that crease in the middle of his face. And we're going to start with the bigger pieces of hair on his head first. First, the two bangs, one on either side of the middle of his hairline. And then we'll move on outside his bangs to one big piece before we start going around his head and drawing all the smaller pieces. Now, just like with drawing his face, everything with his hair is going to be pretty straight, pretty blocky. It's not going to be a whole lot of smooth surfaces. Some of them, yes, but for the most part, you're going to be dealing with a lot of straight lines. This big piece of hair that we're drawing right here is pretty crazy. It almost looks like a giant piece of seaweed. So the rest of the drawing process for his hair is very straightforward. We're just going to draw an outline of his head and draw all the small hairs around it. You've probably done this before a million times, so we'll just go ahead and skip past this part. So there's still a few other features we need to draw, including his ear here, and his neck and his shoulders. For his neck, we're gonna just go layer by layer, first drawing his actual neck, and then on top of that, his shirts, and another layer on top of that is gonna be his jacket, and this is gonna make up his school uniform. We're gonna do a little V shape over here to go ahead and create the crease in his collar, and for the rest of his body, we're actually just going to draw two lines for his shoulders, and that's it. So pretty simple head and shoulders shot over here. There's also these two buttons that we need to draw in his collar. I'm really not sure what they're for. I guess just part of his school uniform design, but they seem kind of pointless. Anyways, we'll go ahead and draw his earrings, and that's pretty much it for the sketch. So the only thing left is for us to go through and draw all the details for his hair, for his clothes, and just add a few more details to his face. So that means we're going to erase through everything. We're only going to erase one section at a time, otherwise it might get too complicated. But we're going to go through that same process, erase everything, draw the details section after section. So you can go ahead and just follow along in a time lapse if you want. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial, which is gonna be for Joseph Joestar.